Welcome to the Leading Hope Podcast with Kevin Jack. Your influence will lead people somewhere, lead them towards hope. Everyone has 20 minutes to learn to become a better leader. Make it count.
Welcome to Leading Hope with Kevin Jack. I'm your host, VJ Williams, here with my friend and pastor, Kevin Jack. Thank you for joining us and taking time out of your day to become a better leader. We release a new episode every Wednesday, so we'd love for you to share on social media and bring others along with us on this journey of becoming a better leader. Visit leadinghope.online to get updates and find out more about the Leading Hope community. If you're new to the podcast or haven't yet subscribed, it would mean the world to us if you did that now. Also, post about it, rate, and review. You will not believe how that helps get this podcast in the hands of so many more leaders just like you. And today is our last episode in our Courage series, episode 54. Man, are you ready to gain some courage?
Gain courage.
Gain it.
If we were cooler, I don't know, you could call it this.
We're not cool.
I was going to call it courage gains, but then I was like, oh, you like that?
You wanted to do that? Why didn't you do that?
All right, fine. Just say episode 54 and say the real title, and then we'll put it on.
You know what's funny? Like about every fourth episode, you say, "Hey, let's change the title," and I say yes, and then I never change the title.
Oh, that's true. Go ahead, say it right now. Say the new one.
Courage gains.
There we go. So we are in the final week, like VJ said, of our series on courage. To recap a little bit of where we've been. Courage establishes you as a leader. Not your skill, not your talent. Courage is what causes people to follow you. Naming a problem, moving a direction, making a decision. That's what establishes a leader. And then we talked at length about what courage is not. That it's not stupidity, it's not ignorance, it's not arrogance, that those things aren't courage. And then we saw that the real difference between stupidity and courage is conviction, which is our launch off point for this episode. And so the where I want to start it with is just say like, hey, conviction, whether it works out or not, it's true to who you are. It's what you deeply care about. The hill you are willing to die on. I have a friend who says it like this: don't pick the wrong hill or you'll get bloody for no reason. And I love that statement. He goes, it was a group of pastors. He goes, some pastors, everything's a hill and they're getting bloody at every turn. There's no reason to have everything be a hill that you're willing to die on. But there should be some. And so our convictions come from, answering the question of what is worth it, whether it works out or not. These are the things, this is the way in which my life is going to go. These are the values that I'm going to live by. I'd rather take the risk than not. I care about this so much. I love these people so much. So whether it turns out for my best or not, it's the thing that you go, I can live with this. I can live with this failure. I can live with this not working out. Those are your convictions. So courage comes from our convictions. How do you gain courage? How do you grow your courage? You go, I've got too much fear in my life. I can't take steps of courage. I'm too concerned as to whether this is going to work out or not. I can never take those bold steps forward. So you must know your convictions, and then it's living out those convictions. It's okay to have things you're unwilling to budge on. There shouldn't be a ton of them. Then you're just disagreeable. And they don't have to be shared by others, but they should be yours. And so knowing your convictions and living out those convictions is how you gain courage. So let's use this as a central metaphor. Courage is like a muscle. It is strengthened over time. And which means small moments of courage lead to the ability to have larger moments of courage. The muscles don't jump from tiny to huge in a day because you hit the gym. That's not how your muscles work. And some of you are like, you have no understanding as to how the physical body worked or anatomy. You're like, oh my goodness, that's my problem. I could even say it like this. Yeah. If we took the metaphor to another level, is in the same way that your muscles grow, not from intensity, but from consistency. Like if you hit the gym for 9 hours in one day, that's not going to be nearly as significant as hitting the gym for an hour over the course of 9 days. Or we could stretch that time far further and the metaphor still works. Like it is not the intensity of your courage in the moment. It is your consistency of courage that strengthens it over time. And this is what I want to push on, is we all have the thought that in the moment of truth, in the moment in which we are pushed to the test, in the moment of trial, that we will rise up, have courage, and meet the demands of the moment. And I want to tell you, big moment courage comes from small moment courage. By being courageous consistently over time, you gain the strength. You strengthen the muscle of courage within your body, that you are able to live out that big moment courage. If you do not have small moment courage, you will have no convictions when it comes to the moment of big moment courage. If you do not exercise that regularly, when it comes to the test and it's actually life-defining decisions, character-defining decisions, things that change the trajectory of your future, you will not have courage. So I want to give you a couple simple practices that will gain your courage over time.
I got the notebook out.
Got the notebook.
I'm ready.
Simple practices that will help you gain courage. I have 6 of them for you, okay? 6 of them. And some of them will sound counterintuitive, and they'll kind of invert each other, but I hope these make sense. Simple practices that will help you gain courage. Number 1, speak when it'd be easier to overlook. When it would be easier to overlook a wrong, speak up. Speak up when it'd be easier to overlook. Burger King did a study. It was, I know it sounds ridiculous to say Burger King did a study. It was more of a social experiment in which they had someone in their restaurant watched a teenager being bullied. And they just wanted to see, as this teenager was being bullied, would someone speak up? And then they brought them their food. And they brought them, you can look it up on YouTube. It is fantastic. They brought them a Whopper, and the Whopper was just in pieces. And so the person would bring the Whopper back to the counter, and their burger's just in shreds. And they're like, something's wrong with this. They're like, oh, you don't like your Whopper bullied? And they're like, what? Oh, you don't want your Whopper bullied. Sorry. It just to show, like, how often we'll complain about when something isn't right of a thing that we purchased, and yet we'll see someone mistreated in a moment, and we don't have the courage to speak up. Speak up when it'd be easier to overlook. Second practice to gain courage. Listen when you would rather yell. And I put this right after that last one. Speak up when it'd be easier to overlook, but also listen when you'd rather yell. When you feel like your team has done something wrong, when your family's doing something wrong, your friends are doing something wrong, and it rises that anger within you, and you want to yell. You want to be upset. You want to tell them how wrong they were and how they didn't do things correctly. That's the time to listen, because everybody wants to do a good job. Like everybody wants to accomplish something significant. And I've just found over time that if I'm frustrated with my team, it's usually my error. They didn't set out ahead of time to go, let's blow this. Like, let's completely screw this thing up. No, it's usually my error. And so in the moment that I want to yell, the courageous thing is to listen and to hear what's really going on. Third, practice to gain courage. Stay when it'd be easier to go. When it'd be easier to walk away from the job, from the relationship, from the church, whatever it is. When it'd be easier to go, and that's the easier way out. The way in which you gain courage is by staying put, which comes to the next one. Practice number 4. Go when it'd be more comfortable to stay. Whether it's a job, whether it's friend group, whether it's a big decision in your life. If you go, oh, my comfort, not my growth, my comfort, not my significance, my comfort, not my impact is in staying, it is time to go. Go when it'd be more comfortable to stay. And then these last 2 are the ones that honestly I struggle with the most. So we've got speak when it'd be easier to overlook, listen when you would rather yell, stay when it'd be easier to go when it'd be more comfortable to stay. And here's the last two. Number 5, slow down when you want to just keep going faster. When you want to keep turning up the pace and go next hill, next thing, it might be time to slow down. It might be time for you to go, hey, let's take a check on how we are. Let's take a check on who we are. Are we still relationally healthy? Are we still spiritually healthy? Yes, I know we've got momentum from accomplishing all these things, but to know intuitively, no. The better thing for everyone is for us to slow down. And the 6th one, to go faster when you've been steady at the same pace. We're operating in what is easy for us. We're operating in what's comfortable for us. Everybody feel like they've got a good handle on stuff. That is the time to speed up the dial. That is the time to go. It's time for us to move a little faster and take on a little more. And so here is my voice of caution within all this as we look at these practices. Convictional courage will never just appear in the moment. It must be prepared in advance. If you don't have a sense of your conviction, you won't live out courage. You'll never establish yourself as a leader, and even worse, you won't live the life that you desire to. So if you're going to have convictional courage that shapes your life, you must have practices that help you build that courage over time. Speaking, listening, staying, going, slowing down, and speeding up at a time that maybe it doesn't feel like the natural thing to do.
Let's unpack the first thing that you talked about, which was gains. Courage gains. You said courage is a muscle.
Yep.
You strengthen it over time.
Well, like a muscle. Sorry. I said it's a muscle, but like a muscle.
Like a muscle. I understand what you meant.
Cool.
And big moment courage comes from small moment courage. For the person that says to you, I could never speak in front of a large team, so I don't even really want to speak in front of a few coworkers.
Yeah. When
people are ready to, they're beginning to prepare to move into leadership, but they're not exercising the muscle. What do they need to do to really, here's the question. What role does confidence play in courage?
Confidence does not come from motivational speeches, a can-do attitude, or anything else. Confidence comes from experience.
Yeah.
And there is no shortcut to that level of self-assurance that you can do it than your own personal experience.
Yeah.
And I think we always want to find the way in which there's no fear involved. There is no way in which there's no fear involved.
Yeah, no.
There is always fear at play.
Yeah.
There is always risk at play.
Yeah.
And it's funny.
It's not safe.
Yeah. I look back on it and I go, I used to, in the early days of my leadership, when I had a meeting, and I had meeting with people who were 10 years older than me, were experienced in business and work life, and I had never been in a functional meeting before. I had never sat in a well-led meeting. I would spend 90 minutes prepping a 60-minute meeting.
Yeah.
Because I was so nervous that it was I got to plan for this conversation and what are we actually talking about and go. Now it takes me 5 minutes to prep an hour-long meeting.
Yeah, well, not me, but yeah.
But it doesn't take much because I've done it so much. My confidence in leading a meeting comes from my experience in leading a meeting. And so because I have that experience, I have confidence. You can't have confidence until you take that risk, enter into that fear, and move through it.
Yes, I believe everyone has courage within them.
Yeah.
That leaders have to help them pull out of them to help get them to do this. We're in this thing online right now where we're talking about Faith Forward Challenge. And all these people are starting to slowly come out of wherever they've been. They've never posted about their own person. They'll post about somebody else. Oh, great. Yeah. Good for you. High five. So glad you said that.
I'll share a prayer request for someone else, but never for myself.
I'll pray for you, but I don't have anything that I need to be prayed for. Or I love the song that you like, but I won't talk about why this song moves me. Why? Because that takes courage.
Yeah.
It takes courage to come out and say that's what faith forward means. It's saying I'm going to do this because I know. Here's the thing. You just said it. These experiences, big moment courage comes from small moment courage. The experiences that we live are unique to us, but will help somebody else. And if you don't come out and give someone your experience, you're going to stop short of the conviction that we talked about and not actually fall into your calling.
And there is so much more power. I'll say, I'll backtrack just a smidge on a statement from earlier, but to say it like this, to say there may be a spot in your life in which you need someone else to look at you and to go, you can do this.
Yeah.
You can do this. But that will only live for so long.
Yep.
And eventually the confidence needs to come from you being able to tell yourself,
yes,
I have done this.
Yeah.
Like I have already done this in the past.
Yeah.
And now I know I can keep doing this in the future. But there will always be fear in those first steps.
Always. And it's probably, yes, excellent. This next question I want you to answer specifically. What does it mean for Kevin Jack to slow down when he wants to just keep going faster?
I shouldn't have specified which one I struggle with the most.
Yeah, because I am absolutely the same. Everybody does that. I'll go so far out I get shot by my friends.
That's the phrase we use with VJ. We say when the general gets it too far in front of the army mistakes him for the enemy.
It's something I always have to work on.
Yeah.
That's always something I will always have to be conscious of.
Yeah.
And cautious of. But for you, what does it mean for Kevin Jack to slow down when he wants to just keep going faster?
So I had just learned I love to accomplish. Now, I'll just be clear. I don't find my worth in my accomplishment. Like, that's not an idol for me. It's fun. Yeah. Like, for me, it is fun.
It is fun
to do things.
Sure.
I don't feel worse about myself if I don't do this. This is not a moral thing. It's not a sin thing. I just enjoy it. I think it's fun. And so the hard thing is oh shoot, what is the movie where they go there? When are we gonna have fun? And he goes,
I hope it's not this one.
I think it was Elf. I think it's Elf in the movie where you go, go through the movie like work is fun. VJ somehow has clips of.
Never mind.
You can hear it. The Cowardly Lion pulled up, and
I thought that's where
no, it would never be that movie. Let's just acknowledge, never that movie ever. He's like, this is fun. He's like, make work fun. Like enjoy work, do work. For me, work is fun. Yeah, like it is. Like I enjoy it. I love the people I get to work with. I love what my work is doing. I love the actual function of my work as well. Like the rhythm of being a pastor, of meetings and planning and creativity and writing and preaching and all those other things. I love the rhythm of our work. And the hard thing is that not everyone does.
Yeah.
And they're good people who care about the mission. They love the impact of the work. They love the people within the work, but they don't love the work. And so at times, and that's like, I just want to be clear, that's an okay thing. Like that is perfectly fine. And you can work in a field and love what you're doing and not love the thing that you're like, love what it's accomplishing, but not love the thing that you're doing. And that's fine. Yeah. And you should still have that job. But I just always have to reorient myself and to go, I know I would work myself to death.
Yeah.
And so at times,
absolutely,
I can't always call the team to my pace. And if I keep the same pace, the team will try to match the pace. And so I have to slow down my pace because it's best for the team.
Yeah. But what do you actually do to slow down?
What do I do to slow down?
What are you actually doing when you're slowing down? Like, does that mean that you're just taking more time off? Do you?
No, because if I just take more time off, that's not so. Like, part of it is taking time off.
Yeah.
Like, that is a piece of it. The larger piece of it is to redefine our goals to not be as ambitious as they could possibly at every season and moment.
That's good. That's really
because
good.
I want to come in and go.
That's right.
People are going, let's climb this hill. And I want to go, Everest. Yeah. Make it Everest.
That's it. Well,
and
you
look
go,
at no, just this hill.
In the time frame that was allotted for the season, you're like, look what we did.
Yeah.
Look what we did in a short amount of time. let's crush it next time.
I always want to do
And
more.
next time we'll always get crushed and crushed and crushed until there's nothing left to be crushed except for yourself.
Yeah. And some of our team will ask at times. That was a great word at the end. I moved off that too fast.
Yeah.
Crushed and crushed and crushed until yourself.
Yeah.
Is go, hey, we always talk about like this is peak season. Is there an off season?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, is there a...
Yeah.
I feel like every season is peak season.
Yep. It's called June.
Yeah, and so I've had to define to go, there are some off seasons.
Yeah.
There are some seasons in which we are maintaining where we are. We're not letting the standard slip, but we are not advancing. We're just maintaining.
That's great. Listen, this has been a fantastic series talking about courage. If you didn't listen to the first 3, I highly encourage you to go back and listen to those.
Encourage. Did you mean to do that?
Yeah.
Yeah, look at you.
Encourage you to do that. But hey, wrap up this series. Wrap up this 54, gain courage.
Yeah.
Wrap it up.
I just want to leave you with this whole thing. Like we had in the previous episode 53, probably my favorite discussion of all these.
Yeah.
Of like, man, the weight is good, and the weight comes from convictions, and the convictions lead to courage. But I want you to see this. You will not wake up one day and have massive courage. You will not. It's not a magical thing. You'll not in a moment all of a sudden muster up all the strength you could possibly ever need to make the courageous decision. It gets built over time. So build now. Like that's my plea to you to go be intentional about knowing your convictions and living them out now. Otherwise, when the moment of trial in your life comes that changes the trajectory of your life, you will not have the courage that is needed to make the right decision. So build it now so you can be ready for then.
That's great, man. That's good. Let's wrap this up. Episode 54, Gain Courage. Build now. Start today. There's no better time than the present. Thank you for joining us today. If you're new to the podcast or haven't yet subscribed, it would mean the world to us if you did that. Now also post about it, rate and review, or both. You won't believe how that really does help us get this in the hands of so many more leaders like you. Share it with them, man. It's such an encouragement to them, and it's an encouragement to us that maybe this is the right thing that we should be doing. And we love hearing your stories of how the podcast is working in your life and business. If you have a story, visit leadinghope.online and send that to us. We'd love to hear from you. And remember, everyone has 20 minutes to learn to become a better leader. Make it count.